Welcome, everybody. We are York Talk. And York Talk, everything sales and business. My name is Wes Yorks. And I want to say welcome to every single person who is connecting on today. You know what? It's really nice to be back in our head office in Brisbane, Australia. You know, we've been traveling around a bit lately, so it's nice to come back to the head office and get York Talk done from here. So we've got Facebook Live happening. We've got Instagram Live happening. We're getting recorded in the back. We've got the team behind us. We've got everything happening here. So I want to welcome everyone to this week's episode of York Talk, Everything Sales and Business. But before we get started, I wanted to say thanks to every single person who jumps on, who listens, who comments, who shares. You know, since I think we're on episode 19, so we haven't done a great deal of episodes. But if you look at the stats, and you know, just look at, say, for example, the Facebook Live stats, and we've had over 220,000 views. We've had over 82,000 minutes watched just on Facebook Live alone. So first and foremost, I want to say thanks to every single person out there, because I think that's pretty remarkable. You know, the message getting out there. You know, we do this free every single Tuesday. You know, because of the fact that we want to get the message out there from Sales Coaching International. We want to make sure, you know, we get some great tips, some strategies, some help, you know, just some, you know, even motivation just to kick off the week and to make sure, you know, that we're all sort of in that planning mode and making sure that we're getting to the success stage that we all want to. So I just want to say a quick thank you. Got Bez on, Karen's on, say thanks very much. A couple of quick shout outs for today too. Phil Lowe over in Fiji. I just want to say g'day, buddy. Director of Fiji Coffee, is also the owner of 18 Degrees Fiji Distilled Water. Absolutely brilliant. I want to do a quick shout out to the Altica sales team. I know they jump on most weeks and watch this. If they don't get on that on live, then I know they download it through Spreaker, or they jump on the website and download it on iTunes, or they just watch it on YouTube as well. So I just want to say congratulations to the Altica sales team. They watched it most weeks, and they always email in or they send a direct message to say, you know what, they love it and their results are proved because of it. So thanks very much to the Altica sales team. So what are we doing today? So today I read an article a little while ago and it was on successharbor.com. So you can jump online and download the article. I thought it was pretty good. And it was the 50 main reasons why businesses fail compared to other businesses succeeding. And as I was reading through the 50 reasons why they fail, you know, because we all, you know, I think we're all pretty aware of the results of small businesses when they start. You know, in some countries, you know, 50% fail. In other countries, 80% fail. And when I was reading through these reasons, I'm like, you know, a lot of these are personal reasons. They're not because of, you know, macroeconomic data, or, you know, it's all because of, you know, self-education, or it's about self-motivation, a lot of these reasons. So if I go through some of them, and then we're going to go and talk about them in a little bit more depth, you know. So the number one reason why they're saying that businesses fail was lack of planning. So when I was looking at this, it's like, well, this is just not businesses that you know, these 50 reasons why businesses fail. This to me is just people in life, in general life. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're in sales or in network marketing. It doesn't matter whether, you know, I got to see Dave Kay just joined over in New Zealand. You know, he's got the Viaduct Chiropractor. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. You know, it doesn't matter if you're a chiropractor, you've got your own business there. You know, the lack of planning, you know. So to me, it's just not about business. It's about whatever you do, whether you're sales, you're marketing, you're accountant. It doesn't make any difference here. I think a lot of these reasons, in the reasons why people fail, you're going to find that they're going to help you in your everyday life at the same time too. You know, leadership failure, no differentiation, ignoring customers, inability to learn, poor management, premature scaling, poor location, lack of profit, incorrect inventory, lack of financial management, personal use of business funds. I kind of laughed at that one there. You know, lack of focus, overexpansion, no succession plan, wrong partner. So these are all reasons why they're saying, and these are the top reasons that they found their research why businesses fail. So I've just grabbed sort of like the top 10 here that we're going to have a bit of a look at, because it's, like I said, it's just not why businesses fail. I guess it's why sometimes we fail. And when I look at sales teams or marketing teams, I reckon the results would be pretty similar to like a small business. How many people do you know that come into a sales organization or into a marketing organization and they're only there for a short time, so they didn't succeed? I reckon those numbers would be pretty similar to the numbers that we see with small businesses where, 8 out of 10 small businesses don't succeed after, 24 months, etc. And I reckon it's because of exactly the same reason. So I'm going to look at the first one here, which is, the number one reason was the lack of planning. Like, sounds with going to go into or someone's going to go into a new career or whatever, and they don't really plan out their future, or they don't plan out their success. They don't really set any measurable goals. They don't really time specific on the goals. The day by day they're going to get better, but there's no actually planning around the future, and there's no planning around for them to be successful. And you know what? You look at the top salespeople, or you look at top network marketers, and you look at the top businesses, and they have plans. They know how many people they need to see. They have their forecast. They know their numbers. They know what they need to go and educate themselves on, or they know who they need to go and get expert advice from, or they know what to palm off information, whether it be accountants or lawyers. They understand what they need to do to be successful. They might not be very good at social media, so they know they need to palm that off and outsource that to an expert. So they understand that the planning is the preparation for their success. The old saying, lack of planning is, you're planning to fail. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you own your own business, you're employed by someone, or you're on commission or whatever. You need to make sure you have that plan. You need to make sure that you have those goals set and they're time specific, and understand what you need to do to be able to measure that success. So, to me, I think that's really critical. But it's just not business is what this article is talking about. This is every single thing in human life. We need to make sure that we plan. And if we want to be successful, let's make sure we sit down on a weekly basis or daily basis and measure it out, and make sure we have those steps in place to make sure that we hit that, we hit that measures, and we hit that success, and we hit those outcomes and results, etc. The second one here was, I looked at here, which, leadership failure. I kind of look at this, and it sort of sends shivers down my spine in a lot of cases. And I really look at this. I find this is a really interesting aspect when you talk about leadership failure. We go into small businesses, medium and large businesses here at Sales Coaching International, and it's really evident when you go into some businesses that, business owners, that they're leading their teams and they're leading their staff, yet they have no leadership ability whatsoever. Like, how many times have you worked for someone, the owner of the business was just an absolute dickhead? They've got no leadership abilities at all, yet they're leading the team, and then they wonder why, then that their business is unsuccessful, that they struggle to keep, key personnel. But then you look at then the other way, when you go into organisation and someone's been promoted into a management position, and they kind of got promoted because maybe they're there the longest, not because of their ability or not because of the fact that they can actually lead people. So to me, I find this really interesting because the fact that when people hit a leadership position, they usually stop learning, they stop educating themselves. They kind of feel like, I'm in this position, so therefore I can just tell people what to do, and then they've got to do it. They don't learn how to lead people. They don't understand how to manage people, manage time. They don't understand how to get the best out of people and empower people. So it really becomes a dictatorship, and that's why you have bosses who are absolute dickheads at times, because they're just barking orders at you. And if you want to be successful, you need to be able to understand different people's personalities. Every single person has egos to some perspective there. But we need to make sure we get the best out of people. We want to sit there in 20 years' time or 30 years' time and develop and create legacies, and without that education and learning how to manage people, and how to really get the best out of people, then you're not going to succeed to the abilities where we want to be. So, to have this here in this article, that, in the top 5, I found it really interesting, because most people, like I said, when they get to these positions, they kind of feel like they don't need to learn anymore. But to me, that's the time when you need to learn more, because people count on you. People are respecting your decisions and your opinions. You need to make sure they're accurate and correct. So to me, this is actually when we need to start to educate ourselves more, so therefore we can get the best out of ourselves, our organisation, the people around us. So to me, that was a good one. Number two, leadership. Leadership failures is the reason why the inability to succeed. So number three, ignoring customers' needs. Can you sort of get flabbergasted here? You go into business, you start your own business up, and then in the top 5 reasons why they fail is because of the fact that we ignore the customer's needs. But then when you look at this further abroad about when you look at sales consultants, marketing consultants, accountants, whatever, it doesn't matter. You see this actually across the board everywhere. And you know what? It kind of makes me laugh when you go into an organization, you tell the sales consultant to ring up some existing customers to see how they're going with their product or service that they got sold, or, to maybe get referrals or whatever it is. And they're really reluctant to do it. They're really scared to get on the phone and go and speak to their existing customers because they got that mental block that, they might have a complaint, or, they're really just fearful of it. And by not being able to do that research, because that's really what it is, you're really ignoring the customer's needs. So I understand exactly why this is in the top reasons why businesses fail, because, we sort of get tunnel vision. We're worried about that money coming in, but we forget the fact that without customers, we have no business, and without great customers, we actually have no future. So therefore, we need to make sure that we understand what their needs, desires, and wants are. So therefore, we can service that need. But we can't be fearful of ringing our clients, and we can't be fearful of asking them how they thought that experience was, because they're going to give you some great insights to be able to move forward. And when you read this, a lot of people are going to read this and go, "Oh yeah, that's for a business owner," but this is for everyone. If you want to be successful with whatever you do, when you have a great insight of what the client wants, that means you're going to be far more successful than everyone else around you. So make sure we get on that blower and make sure we ring our clients up and make sure we ask what they need, because when we get to that nature, that means you have far more insight than any other person around you. And that means you become sort of indispensable. It means you have greater insight like we're talking about. That means you can get referrals and your business will just start to expand from there. So, don't ignore the customer's needs, because as soon as you start to ignore your customer's needs, you're going to deteriorate that success. Number fourth one. Again, I'll read all these and they're really easy. We know it all. Inability to learn from failure. Why is it when people they own their own business or they get into a leadership position, they forget that they can learn from the results that may hit the mark? Is it ego? Is it because of the fact that they're so busy they don't get time to go and educate themselves? To me, what is the reason? We need to look at ourselves in the mirror to go, why is it the fact that I'm maybe not hitting the mark here, but I'm not learning at the same time? We've got the saying, we either win or we learn, right? We never lose. But in a lot of cases, people struggle that learn bit. They're just worried about that next kill. They're worried about that next result. They're worried about that next monthly P&L. They're worried about that next quarter results. But we need to understand that we can learn from our failures to heighten the results moving forward. And I think a lot of the cases here for me is we get so wrapped up running around after our tail that we forget to look at the future and understand how we can take that result, improve it. What do we need to learn to change that? And when we actually can take that result, we can learn from it and heighten it, then in the future we're going to actually have more time, right? At the time when we're running around our tail, it seems like it's hard position to be in, right? So, and we've all been there, we all understand that, but let's just take a step back every now and again. So therefore we can actually go and learn those fundamentals to get forward. Number 5, poor management. I looked at this in a lot of capacities. Your lack of time management, lack of managing your own education, lack of forecasting for the future, lack of placement. So poor management in the fact that we don't know how to place the right people into certain positions, because sometimes we've got to make some really tough decisions. Sometimes we've got to take someone who maybe has been in your organisation for a really short time, but they've got all the credentials, and you've got to put them in a position above someone who may have been there for 10, 5 years, for example, and it's going to ruffle some feathers. But at that stage, it's the correct decision to make, and it's a really tough one to make. So we'll put that person who's been there the longest in that position, didn't place them correctly, lack of empowering staff, lack of growth, So when I looked at, poor management, this to me came into so many different fields. And, we need to make sure that if we're owning our own business or we work on commission, we are in our own organisation in that capacity, we need to make that we educate ourselves in the fact that we can manage correctly. We can put people in the right positions. We can sit there every single day and every single week, and we can say, okay, my time management was great. I empowered these people. I did the correct management aspects to get the result. Because at the end of the day, we all want the same result. We want to be successful, and success is different for every single person. So let's make sure that our management isn't poor. And you can really see how businesses fail, but also how people fail in their own employment because of the fact that they didn't manage things right. Number 6, inability to learn. And this was on it, inability to learn. We can't stop learning. You look at the statistics there, for example, in America, where CEOs read over 60 books a year, and the average person reads less than one book a year. We need to make sure we continue educating ourselves, because, we need to make sure that we're moving in the times, that we're adapting to client changes, economic changes, customer changes. We're looking at, our competition changes. We need to be above the 8 ball all the time. And at the end of the day, if we stop learning, we're going backwards. And we need to make time. A lot of people say, I don't have any time, but guess what? It's a bit similar to the inability to learn from failure. The more we educate ourselves, the less mistakes we make, the actually more time we get. But we've got to start that education process. If you haven't read my book, I've got it here actually, Confessions of a Timeshare Salesman. You can jump on Amazon.com, Amazon.com.au, grab it. It's a great sales book. It's just got a really bit of a catchy title, but it's all about sales. It's about the sales process. In January, this was #1 bestseller on Amazon for the management and sales department. So it's a great read. So jump on and get it if you need to actually educate yourself in the sales process. If you haven't also jumped on to WesYorksSales.com, so this is a bit of a plug session on me here. We have the Elite Sales Club, which has different courses on sales, on management. You can go in and sign on for a particular course. It's videos. You can access it from your phone. You can access it from your computer, any tablet or whatever that has internet. And you can go through each session at your own pace, and you can educate yourself. So you've got the fundamentals of selling. So if you're new into sales or you're new into business, you need to understand the fundamentals. It's got it there. And we've got it all the way to advanced phone sales, overcoming objections, advanced closing strategies. So we've got the whole gamut from phone sales, direct sales, from intermediate sales all the way through advanced. So jump on to WesYorksSales.com and go into the Elite Sales Club section, and from there you'll be able to guide your way through to see what course best suits you. So there's no reason in this day and age you can't learn. If you're not a great reader, you've got the audio book. So you've got like the Elite Sales Club, which I was just talking about, which is video based. There's so many different ways now that you can educate yourself. There isn't really excuse to be able to sit there, I don't have the time anymore. So let's make sure we get out there and educate ourselves. So therefore, we don't have to hit those stumbling boxes often. Number 7, and this is the last one I'm going to sort of cover, poor financial management. And I bring this one up here because I go into so many organizations, and you see the top salespeople get a massive commission or a massive monthly bonus, but then 2 weeks later, they're broke. They're living week by week, right? They've gone down blind on a car. They're taking a holiday. Or you go into a business, and they spent a whole heap of money on marketing, and this really shits me to tears. They spend a whole heap of money on marketing, but they've got no idea how to actually close a sale. So to me, the sales process comes first before you spend money on marketing, because if you're going to get leads in, you may as well make sure you know how to close them, eh? So you see so much money is spent, and it's really poor financial management. So my suggestion here, it doesn't matter what you do and where you are, make sure you get a great financial person around you, whether it be accountant or whatever, to really manage that expertise. Because at the end of the day, we can spend money, have a bit of fun, but it's such a short-term solution. Let's make sure we're setting ourselves up to be successful for the long term. So if you get a great financial expert, within your realm, you're going to be so thankful in 10 years' time. You may not see, much improvement maybe in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, but, give yourself 5, 7, 10 years. You're going to see yourself with, a nest egg and a great net worth. So you need to make sure you have, whether you're starting business or whether you're employed, I don't care who you are, get someone around you who can really deal and handle your money. So therefore, you're not spending money willy-nilly. You're not living week to week. Because that just brings massive financial pressure and stress, into your own personal life and into your results. And I understand that in some cases, salespeople work on that. They need money today, so they go and get great results. But to me, you're going to be 50, 60, 70, 80 years old and you're going to be left with nothing. So let's set ourselves up to be successful in the future. Let's set ourselves up so in 5 and 10 years' time, we don't have to worry about week by week. We can really, we can sit there and have a great retirement. But that starts today. And I don't care if you're 18 years old or you're 60 years old, we've got to start today because the end game will be very short because it's always, time speeds up as you start to get older, right? So to me, so we just covered 7 real quick points here. And to me, it's talking about obviously why businesses fail, but to me, it's why people and businesses fail. So we looked at, where's my sheets here? Lack of planning, leadership failure, ignoring customers' needs, inability to learn from failure, poor management, inability to learn in general, and poor financial management. But there's a whole heap. And again, this was on successharbor.com. So jump on and read the article. It was really cool. It was really interesting to have a look and go, what? There's some really great points there. So overall, let's make sure we really plan each day out, each week out. Let's make sure we understand that every single day that we go to work or we open the doors for our business, there's a reason for it. So many people go in day by day and just, the day finishes, they go home, they put their feet up and they watch a bit of reality TV, right? But at the end of the day, let's make sure we have a result. Let's make sure we have a reason of why we're doing what we do. Otherwise, give us a year and nothing's happened for that year and we wonder why, and all we do is bitch and moan that we don't have any money or we haven't had any promotions or the business isn't succeeding. So let's make sure that we have a reason why we do something every single day. We do York Talk here to get this education out to people, to give people just a little kick. We're not telling you anything today that you don't know. But what it is a great reminder to go, what, fantastic, Wes, appreciate that. I'm going to sit down today and spend half a day and just really look at what we've done in the last quarter, what we did really well, what we could have improved on. And so therefore next quarter, we can have a better result. Like if we can have that on 15 people today, then we've done our job here at Sales Coaching International. So that's why we do York Talk, Everything Sales and Business each week for that. I want to say thanks for all the comments on Instagram Live here. Absolutely brilliant. Appreciate that. So here's where we're at today. York Talk, Everything Sales and Business. This is what we have for today. 50 reasons why businesses fail, but to me, it's 50 reasons why everyone fails. But at the end of the day, let's just make sure every single day we're there for a reason. We do it. We want to make sure we're going to succeed, but we need to make sure we put that action into place and that plan into place. So therefore, we know what to do. We next week, make sure you send us your messages. Make sure you like it, share it. Make sure you put a comment on it. If you want us to talk about something in general, send us a direct message like many people do. So therefore, we can wrap around it and then we can bring you the message that you're after. So again, my name is Wes York. This is York Talk, Everything Sales and Business. Just want to say thanks for all the comments today. Remember, jump on wesyorksales.com. Check out the Elite Sales Club because obviously we had the number 6 there, which was the inability to learn. There's no reason for it. We've got all the different courses. Jump onto Amazon, grab my book, learn the sales process, and let's rock and roll. So my name is Wes York again. Thanks, everyone. Have an absolute cracker week, and we'll see you next week on Tuesday. See you now.